Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare early medieval beef stew from a 6th century source, De Observatione Ciborum, written by the Byzantine physician Antimus. We start with the ingredients. We need beef, wine, garum, vinegar, concentrated grape juice, aromatic herbs, dill, mint, leek, and cilantro, and spices, black pepper, cloves, costus, and spikenard. We mince the aromatic herbs, grind the spices, and chop the meat. The dish we're preparing is called iuscellum, a term that has several meanings and refers to dishes such as soups, stews, and sauces. Although it's better to think about it as a cooking method rather than a specific food. Iuscellum is equivalent to the Greek zoumos, which we encountered recently when preparing an ancient Greek dish, which you will find in the description below. For today's recipe, the author recommends a series of herbs and vegetables, such as head leeks, pennyroyal, root of celery, and fennel. In another passage of the book, the herbs that he writes can be added to any dish are celery, cilantro, dill, and leek, which should be a little pre-cooked before adding it to the other ingredients. Head leeks, called porri capitati in ancient and early medieval sources, are regular leeks that were cultivated to develop large heads, similar to onions, as Pliny writes. Instead of head leeks, we used very young leeks, called porri sectivi, which are very common in ancient recipes. We replaced pennyroyal with mint and used dill and cilantro, but you can choose different herbs depending on your taste and ingredients available to you. As spices, Antimus recommends black pepper, costus, cloves, and spikenard. Costus and spikenard have occasionally been used in the history of Italian and Greek cuisine, being mainly ingredients for perfumes thanks to their amazing intense smell. However, we find them sometimes in the Greco culinaria, as well as in medieval and Renaissance sources. We bought them directly from India because they are very difficult to find in Italy. Costus can also be found in some Middle Eastern shops, ground into powder. If you don't find the spikenard and the costus, we recommend omitting these ingredients, or using lavender instead of spikenard, considered by Renaissance authors, such as Pietro Andrea Mattioli, as a type of Italic nardus. We stew the meat with a little water and the aromatic herbs. After half an hour, we add vinegar, wine, concentrated grape juice, garum, and the spices. We cooked the stew for about 2 hours. You can cook it more or less depending on your preference and the cut of meat you choose. Instead of concentrated grape juice, you can use honey, mentioned by the author as an alternative. Garum doesn't appear in the recipe, nor does salt, though it is mentioned in other passages of the book. We added it for a better result, but you can use salt instead. For information about the preparation of garum and its use between the Antiquity and the early Middle Ages, check out our new book, Early Italian Recipes, Fish, Seafood and Fish Sauces, which also contains 11 recipes for fish sauces, translated from primary sources, and information about their preparation and the techniques of fish preservation, starting from ancient times. The Observatione Ciborum is an amazing source for understanding the transition between ancient and medieval cuisine. It's one of the very few survived dietary texts written in Latin in the early Middle Ages. This text is essentially a letter on dietetics addressed to the King of the Franks, which also contains recipes and information about the healthiest ways to prepare food according to ancient medicine, with instructions that give us plenty of possibilities of interpretation and adaptation according to the directions of the physician. To learn more about Antimus' book, check out our translation, titled De Observatione Ciborum, Early Medieval Recipes at the Court of the Franks. Translations of other ancient and medieval sources, including the Recucunaria and the Vinidarius Excerpta, are available on our Patreon page, where you will also find several articles on historical food. A list of our books is in the description below, along with links to buy us a beer and purchase our merchandise. This stew was incredibly rich due to the complexity of the mixture of Mediterranean herbs and spices such as spikenard, costus and cloves, whose sweet and strong flavor was balanced by the spiciness of black pepper. Long pepper, known since the antiquity, would also be an interesting choice for an excellent result. You can also try different types of meat with this recipe, such as mutton or lamb, according to your preference. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.